All right, we are live. Oh, I'm gonna chill out. Don't want to get sued by the UFC. Not copywriting. Love Bruce Buffer. UFC, you're listening. Dana White. Got none but love for y'all. Please don't sue me. I was not a shot at you or Bruce Buffer or stealing his catchphrases or anything like that. So, members of the culture, I am Ra, and you are here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the most saying most. Welcome to the greatest underground podcast that nobody knows about yet. Catch the Fade, episode 7. Right, so happy to be here with you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still rocking shirt number 2. Did you wake up a champ? If you've been watching our videos, you're aware of we got this shirt courtesy of my main man KT Mac 901, the first and greatest 7-foot monster of Memphis wrestling. I said it. Shout out to KT Back 901 for providing us with this wonderful apparel. Did you wake up a champion? We always say this, ladies. If your man, look over at that man that's in the bed with you right now. Is that man a champion? Does he provide? Does he take care of you? If he's not a champion, take whichever foot is the good foot and kick him out of that bed. Tell him to go do some push-ups. Tell him to go make your breakfast. And most importantly, since we're talking about members of the culture and we're here on the greatest podcast ever, how about you tell that chump to go buy a Funko Pop or something? Go buy a Marvel Legend, okay? Go on out there and get yourself figure of the year. Tell him to go out here and get this Venom right here, Gamerverse Venom. Find out what's wrong with him. What is he doing with his life? That's what he should be doing. If he was a champion, he'd already have that figure. All right, look, enough of the jokes there. Shout out to my man KT Back 901. Follow him on Instagram if you're interested in finding out about waking up a champion. Folks, the first, I got the clippers running, so the first person in the chair we got to discuss got to be our good friends over at Hasbro. Why are we talking about Hasbro? Number one, we're always talking about Hasbro. That's first, it seems like. Uh, Secondly, we're talking about Hasbro because, man, have they come for the wallet this year, especially in the second half. If you've been watching the videos, and if you hadn't, shame on you. You should have been watching the videos. You would know that we had a video way back in the beginning of the year where we talked about, excuse me, Hasbro being a little slow in the beginning. They had some good figures, but they were kind of slow figuring out like what they were going to do in the second half. Meanwhile, McFarlane seemed to be in the lead. He was dropping figure after figure after figure after figure and bringing all the heat. Meanwhile, Hasbro seemed to be dropping stuff, but kind of slow, easing into it, right? They weren't out there like he was. Now, of course, I get it. Before anyone says it, yes, I already know that with Todd McFarlane losing the license in about a year, the DC license in about a year, he has to, get his figures out, right? Whatever he's got in the pipeline's got to start, they got to come to fruition and got to get on the assembly line and got to get out in the hands of consumers because his time's running out. I get that. But there's two ways to look at that. He could, put some figures out, and he could just really, if you want to know the truth, he could just rest on his laurels, not try hard, and just say, look, man, it is what it is. I'll put out a couple of things here and there. I'm really not that worried, but that's not what he did. He's put out some good figures. He really has. He's also dropped some, like the Blood Axe. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on that. I didn't get the original either, but there's been a lot of talk about that Blood Axe figure from McFarlane's Blood with the horse. You can go and see a review of it with my main man D Hunter's Reviews. Please check him out. I always support fellow content creators, but check him out. He did an extensive review on it. You can see what he thinks. He's a trusted source. Also, Bones of the Necro Zoo. I'm sure he's going to talk about it. But let's get out there and find out. Judge for yourself. You always hear me say, I appreciate you listening to a ball guy on the internet. But at the end of the day, you got to make your own decisions. This is your money, your time that you're investing. So if it's going to be your purchase, you want to make the right purchase for you, not for me. It's not in my possession or anyone else's. It's yours. These are your purchases. So you do what's best for you, right? So back to like I was saying, he could just phone it in, but I'd have to say for the most part, he's not phoning it in. He's put out some good figures. He's pumped out a lot of Batman. He's always going to do that, though, whether he lost the license or not. But it seems like the Superman push has been coming. Now, that could have to do with the movie. It could have to do with the fact that he makes a lot of Batman and Superman because at the end of the day, folks, Batman and Superman are basically printing money. Those figures sell, always have, always will. Those are staples of DC. You can't have them. They're like Batman, Superman. We're talking about the Ken and Ryu of DC. You got to have them. They're always going to sell. If you're going to, whoever takes over a movie franchise, you better have a Superman, you better have a Batman. No doubt about it. So he's been pumping them up and cranking them out. Just to name a few, you can't see. I was looking over there trying to give you an example of what's over there, but and you can't see it. But nonetheless, um, what's going on, Clever? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you at all. I appreciate you catching up there. Just discussing what's been going on this past year. What's going on in this particular time of the year. We're talking about what Todd McFarlane is doing. And as I said, when it comes to these figures, you can't see. I don't even know why I'm looking, but I have to describe what I'm talking about. Over on my McFarlane section over there, I do have a Superman Batman shelf kind of combined. The Kingdom Come Superman, outstanding. There's also one by, I think they're called Gong Pop Mart, something like that. Awesome figure, totally. Kingdom Come Superman is an interesting line, an interesting character, and take on Superman, to be completely transparent with you. Also, I still have my collector's edition of the Return of Superman, and that would have been the previous one. He is just buff and crazy, and my man Clever's Multiverse that I just shot out. That's just shot out. Yep. Yeah, he is going hard for his last year. Oh, he's gonna drop. See, I just said that, Clever. I literally just said that he had options. He could have gone the way of just phoning it in because it is what it is. The license up. Whatever figures I got is what I'm gonna do. But he has put out some good ones. I like the Kingdom Come Superman. That's one. But over this last year, I'm trying to think. What is he? The Power Girl, despite the fact I'm saying power, despite the fact she's 7 feet tall. That was a good one. I like the Captain Cold, the Guy Gardner. Um, One of the many Batmans. I'm trying to think which one it would have been because he's put out Justice Lord. He's put out the Cowardly Light. He's got Rainbow Batman. It's so many. You know. Yes, thank you, Clever. I could not. I was trying to remember that. Yes, on his way another round of Four Superman. Yes, he did of the Four Superman. I just saw the. Have you seen the Page Puncher one I just saw? See, yep. See, it was just man. It's like he's reading my mind psychically right now. It's crazy. Yes, the Page Punchers. Superboy looks good. I want to say I saw something else on Page Punchers. There's a Wonder Woman. Uh, and maybe two Superboy. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe there's two of them. There's one with a jacket, and there's another one that might be a different color. Correct me if I'm wrong out there, but I thought I remember seeing two. I know there's a Wonder Woman coming. There's This is a theory that I came up with, and I don't know if anybody else agrees with it. I've said it before in the videos. He hasn't said this directly. The only thing Todd has said was, yes, Eradicator's amazing. Yep, 60s Wonder Woman. Thank you again. I was really in shock, but I thought that Todd, when they first interviewed him about losing the DC license, he was doing an interview, and he said he couldn't speak on but so much, which I get and I understand. But he said we're not out of the DC business. We will not be out of the DC business. I thought that was an interesting statement to make. As he said, even though the license is going away, he was going to lose that. Was not going to be out of the DC business. So what I'm trying to take from that is there's a rumor about, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, there's a rumor that DC Direct is something that he either created or owns, has a part in, and that might be his way to continue. We know he can't do DC Multiverse anymore, but he might be able to still do DC through Page Punchers, which is through DC Direct. I could be wrong. I said that's what I think. Maybe that's what he meant. Is for him to say that I'm not done with it. Um, I personally, Page Punchers has some really good figures. If people don't know, they really have. They get slept on. I would personally like to see him continue. I like 7-inch figures. I'll be the first to say it. I don't have an inch problem with 6-inch figures because I do Marvel Legends too. But I do like 7-inch and I do like page punches. Um, the I don't have it where I can pull up where people can see it, but you can go and Google this. His take on the Mr. Freeze. He did a black and white sketch version of Mr. Freeze, and he did a Black Manta. They were on sale, and I have those, and I'm here to tell you, for those of you that don't have them, I think that's really cool. His sketch take on it, it comes with the comic and everything. But if you go look at it, that Black Manta is slept on. That Page Puncher's Black Manta. Go do yourself a favor, look it up. It's at the McFarlane store. I don't think you can get it anywhere else, not that I know of. But they are really the Page Puncher's versions of Mr. Freeze, and because he reminds me of a Big Daddy from Bioshock. I'm showing my age for those of you that haven't seen or had the pleasure of playing a Bioshock. He looks like a Big Daddy, so I thought that was a real interesting take on Mr. Freeze. And then the Black Manta. I mean, both of those are really, really awesome. And I'm telling people now, here's something that's wild. The Page Punchers is one of the best Robins. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You batting 1,000. Here's what's going to be crazy though. People are buying right now, and I guess a video needs to be done on it. And I don't know, Clever. Maybe you be able to speak to it or someone else. What's wild to me is people now have more. At least from what I see, people have more FOMO with McFarlane figures right now than ever. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but in my opinion, I think the FOMO with his figures right now, because I think everybody knows the license is going out, and I have seen FOMO take over. I'm not saying he doesn't have good figures, because as Clever just said, he's got some awesome ones from his Page Puncher line and DC Multiverse, and he's got some bangers coming. But if FOMO's not there, if for those of you that may not have checked this out, there's a Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner. You probably know what I'm talking about. Google the price of the glue right now of the Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner. It's gonna blow your mind. That's a figure from 2023. It was 1999. I think it stayed 1999 to earlier in the beginning of this year. All of a sudden, that figure is like $200 now. And I'm trying to figure out how in the world is a Blue Lantern figure that nobody wanted that was 1999 going for between $100 and $200, but it is. It actually is right now. Now I don't know if that's the FOMO or just certain figures doing that. I don't know because it's the same Kyle Renner figure and I'm not crapping on it because I have the Kyle Renner in my Kilowog 2-pack, right? It's the same Kyle Renner, it's that same figure. It's just him in blue. But they've taken that, and you talk about reuse. Now, hey, look, you gotta get the most out of these molds, and I understand that. Todd McFarlane, he ain't the only one doing it, but he used that Kyle Renner figure. He's used that thing probably, if I was guessing, four times, and has changed it. And with a lot of other figures, sometimes there's reuse, but there's reuse of most of the parts, but they do something to change it. He's put the same figure out and just changed the color. He's done it. Even I will admit, as much as I love that 2-pack, I got it for Kilowog. I didn't have a Kyle Rayner. I didn't. But I got it for Kilowog, and that Kyle Rayner is the exact same Kyle Rayner as the blue one. He's got the same armor and everything. Like it's crazy. Just a different color. But nonetheless, man, some thunder outside. Okay. So it's really wild to me that how the FOMO has hit with him, and I agree with Clever, end of an era. It's a year away, and in this year away, people are like going. I don't know if berserk is the thing or not, but I hear people talking all the time. I gotta get this figure. I gotta get this figure. I'll tell anybody if there's a figure right now, particularly one that's already had come out, because he's got stuff coming down the pipeline. But if there's something that's already come out, I'm gonna use the question as an example. If if you want the question or you want our man or whatever it is, I'm telling you buy it right now. I'm telling you that for two reasons. Number one, buy it because he's obviously not going to send you any more of them because he's not making it anymore. And number two, if you find it, buy it before it hits the secondary market. Nothing against eBay or Macari or anything like that, but I already know them cats is trying to jack that price all the way up because for the first they know the same thing I just told you in the first reason. You can't get it again, so they're obviously gonna jack that price all the way up. And it's crazy. It really, really is. But to Clever's point, it's an end of an era. So if I think it'd be the same way if anybody else had a beloved property and they weren't going to be doing it anymore, they were going to, the price is going to get jacked up. The nostalgia is a drug that's more powerful than people underestimate. Members of the culture, which we are. Shout out to Clever's Multiverse. He said this in his last video. We are the keepers of nostalgia. We are. We're the guardians of it. It's very important to us that this part of our history that we held on to from our childhood to now needs to be in the right hands. Those hands are ours. There are no safer hands than the hands of collectors because to us they are like a snapshot in time of of a bygone era of the past. We can't get that back, right? Like those memories are like I mean, you can't replicate it. You can remember, but that's about it. I tell people all the time that the most abundant resource that people spend like they have it forever is time. Time is the most valuable resource. We spend it and spend it and spend it like it's infinite, and it's not. But we spend like it, don't we? So when it comes to remembering a figure like a certain GI Joe, or man, I'm dating my age for showing you guys something, but there used to be some figures called Muscle. They just got re-released recently, and somebody was like, "Man, it's the coolest thing ever." And I told them that I said, "Muscle's not new. It's not." I was like, "No, Muscle is not new. Muscle's been around from the time of Garbage Pail Kids and stuff like that. Muscle's not new." Okay. And I used to have all of them. I had a box. Man, they made so many of those things. They were little pink plastic like figures. And they were flexible, but they were about so big, just small. Garbage Pail Kids was the hottest thing out in the card game at the time. You'll have to Google that to remember what in the world that was, but Garbage Pail Kids was the truth, along with Muscle. And speaking of like nostalgia, I don't know if Clever's still there. Clever might remember this. Anybody that's you got to be north of 40 to know this. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that now. If you ain't 40 years old, you're not gonna know what I'm talking about. But Jada Toys, who I got to do a review for their figures, like that bison right there, that's a dope figure. But they did a series of the breakfast cereal characters, right? Count Chocula, Frankenberry, Blueberry, and I had this young cat tell me the other day. He said, "Man, these figures, man, some new cereal." I said, "No, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Man, this Count Chocula cat." I said, "Wow, for this generation that is so into their phones, that because they Google everything, they're always in the phone." I'm like, "You don't know nothing. You think that Count Chocula is a new cereal? I get it. The box looks new. I saw the box. The box don't look like the box that I grew up with because I ate Count Chocula. Me and my brothers, we ate it. But it's a new. The box looks. He's been redrawn and everything, right? But I promise you, those cereals are from like the I don't know 70s or something like that. Believe me, Count Chocula, he's old. If you think like looking at that box, you're like, oh man, he's like 30 years old. No, Count Chocula is an old bastard. I'm here to tell you, okay? The Jada Toys knocked it out the park with those figures, but that ties into what I'm saying. One of the reasons, and those figures actually did well selling. Crazy part, crazy thing. And why people bought them? Frankenberry, yes, they're seasonal now. Yeah, but see, I remember seeing them. Frankenberry was good. That was my brother's favorite. My favorite was Blueberry. Now another brother, he loved Count Chocolate, so we were all divided, right? My brother loved Frankenberry, but it was Blueberry for me. Always though, if you looked at the old box, they don't look like that now, man. But if you remember those boxes, Clever, They used to look high, man, on them boxes. Did they not? Or is it just me? Not Count. Maybe yeah. He looked yeah. Count Chocula looked like he might have got high too. But I know that Frankenberry and Blueberry had low eyes. They looked like they was high every day. Nonetheless, Jada Toys did those figures, and they were really really cool. I thought they were some dope figures when they did them. And I mean, because I think they did Tony the Tiger too. Shout out to Jorge Chibi. He's partner of mine. He's on that Tony the Tiger one, which I said, who would have thought here? In, I don't know if they. I think they dropped last year. I think they were 2024 because I know this is 25. Not seeing them. I want to say it was last year, but who would have thought here in 2025 people are still buying them? That in 2025 people would be out buying and talking about Jada Toys, Tony the Tiger, and the breakfast cereal line. That's crazy, man. That's so crazy how life goes full circle, right? But yeah, the FOMO thing is absolutely real with him and with others. And I think so I'm saying that to tell y'all if there is a figure you want, please go get it. If it's a McFarlane figure, please go get it. Even if it's the Blood Axe that's causing all the controversy, because the Blood Axe is like $70 and it's pretty much I think 90 or 95% reuse. I didn't get the original one, so I guess that's who he's aiming at with the figures. Like people like me that didn't get the original figure. He's talking about us. Like, hey, you never had Blood Axe? Hey, I've released it right now. It comes in two forms, one for like 70 and then one for 100 that has a signature on it. I think if I was going to do it, which I'm not, but if I was going to do it, and I'm a McFarlane fan, but if I was going to do it, I would just do the $60 version. That's just I mean $70 version. But I even me from the outside looking at it, when I look at the horse and I look at the figure, I'm trying to think. D Hunter did a great review of it. Please make sure you check D Hunter's review out. He mentioned some things that just don't make sense about it. It's a guy riding a horse, right? And he's got armor or whatnot, but his hands, for some strange reason, he cannot ride the horse and swing this axe that he has. He can't hold both. It just doesn't make any sense because if you were riding in the war, you'd be able to hold and swing. So why you can't, I don't understand. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But I digress. Anyway, if there are some McFarlane figures you want, get them now before they go out of hand. The next thing I want to put these clippers to. Here, boys, will be a hot topic here. James Gunn's Superman. Let me start off by saying I plan on watching the movie. Okay, I don't have any hate for it. I stated before, I really can't tell James Gunn what to do. He's in charge of DC, not me. But I personally think Henry Cavill was done wrong. That's just my opinion, and that's my Superman. Nothing against David Cornsweet. I wish him the best. Hopefully, this movie will be good. I'll be watching it with a fair, unbiased eye. Right. But this Superman movie is important for multiple reasons. I'm gonna tell you one of the main reasons why I think it's one of the reasons it's so critical. Not just because it's a Superman movie, right? And I said you got to have a Superman movie, but folks, you got to understand there's going to be the backlash of people, and from just for the record, I've never seen it. I haven't seen it. I've heard like from people that got to see an early review of it that it's a good movie, right? So that's being full transparency. But it had this movie, he can't fail for multiple reasons because you do have a contingency of people that actually I can't lie, they want to see him fail. I've talked to them, they do. They feel that they don't like the direction, they don't like the fact that he kind of is going away from the actors that Zack Snyder had or the vision, which he has a right to do that. It's his right. Okay, but the movie can't fail because you already have people that are hating and waiting to say, "Hey, look, you got rid of Henry Cavill. Now look what happens. This Superman, this guy sucks." That's you got to continue people, and I understand that they're gonna be waiting to say that. That's fine. That's their right. That's their opinion. Now it's got to do good because we've waited so long. You got rid of a beloved actor. We've waited so long, and now we have a new creative vision. So everybody's kind of waiting with bated breath to see how this goes. And this movie, by his own admission, not that we didn't know that, but by his own admission, this movie is the foundation upon which James Gunn's vision of the DC you is going to be built upon. So if this is the linchpin right here, this right here is the main cog that turns that wheel for his vision of DC going forward, meaning other characters, Justice League, and go and so forth. He can't miss on this. He cannot miss, right? So much pressure is on him that it has to be a good movie. And there's a lot of pressure on David Cornsway. There was pressure on Henry Cavill because we're all, they're all in the shadow of Christopher Reeve, which I get. So much is riding on this film being a success because it determines the future. So it can't just be a good movie. It actually, to me, it needs to be a great movie. That's just my opinion. I think it can't just be all right. It can't just be okay. It has to be, a darn good movie because he said it. The future is based off this movie. This is upon this rock, quote Ultron, upon this rock I will build my church. Right. So going forward, this movie has to set the bar, and everything builds off of it. So it has to be fantastic. No problem. I can't remember whether he's done with Gal Gadot or not because I can't remember reading anywhere about Wonder Woman. Somebody correct me. I don't know. I just know about, obviously the Superman portion of it. Um, he's actually going to do a different take on Batman, although Matt Reeves' Batman will still exist. It's like I'm not going to say multiverse, but it's clear that he intends on having two different Batman. There'll be Matt Reeves, the Batman, and then whatever Batman vision James Gunn has planned. So we don't know who the actor will be or what, but he clearly plans on keeping Pattinson and the producer, I can't say Matt Reeves' vision over here separate from what he's doing. So okay, that's fine too. Uh, I look forward to the Batman too. I like the first one. I know there was a lot of it got a lot of hate. But I think Robert Pattinson did a good job. I really do. People wanted the other day wanted to talk about, oh man, he's older and how is he pulling this off? Christian Bale wasn't 20 when he took on the role of Bruce Wayne. I mean, I get it, but like you got to understand that it's rare that you cast an act. They usually don't cast when I call age appropriate actors. They don't cast them right to match with the vision exactly. A lot of times they get people that can conceivably you would think he was young. I mean, because to me when I watched it, he didn't appear old to me. He seemed like that he seemed like a younger Bruce Wayne, like he was coming into it. Now I know he had the whole emo thing, and I get that's what people were saying, but he was convincing to me that this is a young Bruce Wayne in the first. I think because he's supposed to be in maybe was he in year 1 or 2, if I can remember right from the Batman. It's early, like year 1 or year 2. But I was convinced that this is a young Batman because you could tell by the mistakes he made, like the whole flying when he escaped after punching Gordon and hit the that thing when he was flying and landed on the ground. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But he appeared to have a certain clumsiness and youthfulness to him. He was not seasoned like Christian Bale. He was not. This was not that Batman. It's a guy that's finding his way through the vigilante thing, right? So, for back to what I'm saying, for James Gunn, this movie has to hit because if he fails on Superman, not just the backlash for Superman, but the skepticism for his vision going forward will be so great that it could be damaging, right? So he's got this movie has to be a success because if it's not, you don't want to. I mean, who's going to say? He says, okay, well, here's Batman with another actor we don't know. Who's gonna say, man, we don't want to go spend any more money? I already saw the Superman. The Superman wasn't good. Now your Batman's not good. Who's gonna be your Wonder Woman? People will the negativity and the backlash, I think, will hurt. Now I've got faith in James Gunn because I love Guardians of the Galaxy and that whole franchise, and I think generally he's good at what he does. I really think he is. Um, so I'm willing to give him a chance. But it's July and it's going to be a make or break film for him. Since I'm talking about films, also those of you that have followed know I'm a huge fan. If you didn't know, you can kind of tell behind me right up here. I'm a huge fan of Galactus. Right? If you watch my channel, you know I have the HasLab Galactus, which was my holy grail. I think that Marvel will get Galactus right. I really do. From what I've seen, Ralph Ineson's a fantastic choice. The guy has like the perfect. It seems like he has the perfect voice to do anything. If you want to know the truth, but he's known as the guy with the voice, and he's. I think he'll bring a gravitas to Galactus that's necessary, and I don't think he's gonna. From what I can tell, Galactus isn't being positioned as just a villain. Maybe I don't even want to say an antagonist. Really, if you want to know the truth, I think they're giving him his just due. I know you're gonna say I'm a homer for Galactus. That's true, but those that know Galactus know that you don't really see Galactus per se. At least I don't, or people that have read the comics and know he's not really per se the what we call the mustache twirling villain or bad guy. That's not what Galactus is, right? Galactus is a force of nature, but he is seen as a necessary evil. He does not go out and eat planets because he wants to. He doesn't. He does it to survive. He does it because he has to. That he has to get uh, rich planets in terms of sources of energy for him. They have to be rich with energy, celestial seeds, some people say. But he's got to have that planet because that's how he survives, right? He wants it. I mean, he's famous for in the comics when he meets the Silver Surfer on his planet, Zenla. He's famous for telling him right before he became his herald, because he gets judged saying that there's lives on this planet. And why would you do that? He says, if your own life depended upon you stepping on an anthill, you would not hesitate. That's a powerful quote that stuck with me because it's true. I mean, we're human beings, and I hate to say it, I bet more than one of you out there has stepped on an anthill before or stepped on an ant, either accidentally, sometimes, depending on the person, maybe on purpose, but it may have been an accident. But you didn't step on an ant. You stepped on an ant and you never gave it a second thought. If you walked past it, so I mean, a lot of times it could be inadvertent. But if your life depended upon stepping on that ant and that ant hill, you wouldn't hesitate to do it. You wouldn't. And that's how Galactus is. He doesn't see humans like we see things. He doesn't see things that way, right? He's doing something to survive. He's not doing something out of malice because it's not really an emotional thing. Although Galactus is a little bit different because he does have feelings, believe it or not. He does. He understands things. He can be reasoned with, right? So he's like I say, he's not a cookie cutter villain. He's definitely different. Um, but his story and his arc, I think, if they do it right, and I'm giving Marvel a lot of grace here. If they do it right, I think that Fantastic Four has the potential to be one first steps to be not only a great like first, I guess you could say, I don't say first steps because that's too cliche. Be a first entry into this franchise, and a lot of people, believe it or not, shockingly, this will be a lot of people's first actual interaction with this property. So they don't do comics or anything like that. So this is going to be their first interaction with the Fantastic Four. And a lot of people's first interaction with Galactus. So when they find out he's not the traditional big bad, as people say, they find out that he's actually an interesting character. His backstory is tragic. I mean, if you don't know it, it's tragic and it's interesting, but it definitely is tragic. And then they come to understand why it is he does what he does. It makes him a much more compelling and interesting. I don't want to call him an excuse me. Oops. Sorry about that. I don't want to call him a antagonist, but it makes him a much more interesting character. I'll say that. Um, this is a big one for Marvel too. I mean, I know I just talked about James Gunn having a lot of pressure on him. Uh, Kevin Feige, who I believe in wholeheartedly, he's got a lot of pressure on him because Fantastic Four needs to be good. It's a troubled property for them. I realize like some of it came with Fox. It wasn't them, right? But it's got a troubled backstory when it comes to Fantastic Four movies, right? We're not going to talk about what they did with Doctor Doom. We're not going to talk about Cloud, the space cloud that I understand was not meant to be Galactus, but a representation of Galactus, or whatever they want to call it. Okay, I'm not gonna drum that up. Just go watch it for yourself. But they've made some missteps. Let's say that. In most people's opinions, they've made some big missteps. Here's their chance to turn it around and do something different, and I'm counting on them delivering on that. It really, really needs to be big. I mean, they cannot miss this. They can't fumble it. They can't mess it up. I mean, I get it. I'm saying it in a biased way because I do love Galactus so much as a character. Please, for my sake, don't mess up Galactus and don't mess up this film, Marvel. But I'm saying as a whole, because of Marvel at one time, if you go back to around the time of Infinity War, I think we look at them differently now than we used to. Around the time of Infinity War, Marvel could do almost no wrong, right? They were it. Like their superhero films right before that whole saga, those films were gold all the way leading up to it, man. They were cranking them out from Iron Man on. I mean, they had some awesome movies, right? And so that by this point they are steamrolling. The momentum is with them 100%. Marvel is the kings of the castle. And then they had some films and projects that were not as well received. I'll say it that way. And boom, the next thing you know, now all of a sudden Marvel is. We get the questions of: is it superhero fatigue? Is it? No, 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 no. I don't think it's superhero fatigue. I think it's movie. It's got to be bad. I'm not gonna call it a bad movie, but it's got. But that's how people are viewing it. It's got to be bad movie fatigue. Nothing against Marvel. I like them, but if you have a series like, and I think sometimes it's you can have too much of a good thing. They crammed out so much at one time. You had movies going on at the same time as series. Like you got Secret Invasion, and you've got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they are they are WandaVision. They are cranking out all of this stuff at one time, and yes, that could cause fatigue because there's too much at one time. Now, if everything's a hit, the chance. I'm not going wrong. You can still get fatigue even if it's great. I mean, look, a pizza may taste. You may have the best pizza in the world, but if I gave you the best pizza in the world 7 days in a row, you would probably say, "Hey, do you have a burger or something else?" Right? So you can have too much of a good thing. That's possible. But if in fact you're giving me the same thing, but it's not as good the second time as it was the first. It's not as good the third time as it was the second. If something is off with the formula or the ingredients and it doesn't taste the same, you're gonna get tired of it even faster. So that's kind of that's the best analogy I can draw to what I think people were feeling is that yes, there may have been a small contingency of people that said, "Hey, it's enough of the superheroes." But I think moreover, you had movies, and you had properties, series, and stuff like that, where it was so much of it, and then it's not all hitting. That's going to cause people to turn on a company or a franchise, right? When you get too much, and then of the too much, a lot of it isn't good. So for Marvel, they've taken a break. It seems like they've kind of slowed down um, with the overload because there was an overload at one time. They're spacing out their movies, pushing things back. I'm glad to hear that Blade is supposedly back. I ain't gonna say on schedule, but they are working on Blade again and figuring this whole thing out. So, folks, those of you that are like me that believe in Mahershala Ali and believe in Blade, the character, love the character, please let's get this right. Now take your time. I'm one of those people that I'm fair. I know I want to see the Blade movie. I really do. But I will take if my choices are to get a half-assed rush Blade that sucks, or to get a good, absolute knock it out the park, undeniable banger of a movie, of a Blade movie, but it takes a little longer. You can give me that all day, twice on Sunday. I will wait patiently for the right stuff. If you give me your very best Blade movie and it's high class, top of the top marks, I'll wait. Just that's like with the Batman. Matt Reeves is taking his time. I agree with James Gunn in that regard. Folks, get off his nuts. Give him a minute. Let it. Matt Reeves doesn't really fail. If you look at his movies, he usually makes good movies. So give him time to get it right. I pray his health is good. Because there are rumors about something about his health. Hey, God bless him. I hope his health is right, and then I want him to take his time and get the Batman too to be every bit as good as the first one because I'm a big fan of the first one. So I say that to say, give these directors time and let's get it together. Now, Blade, it's been a little messy with rumors going on back and forth, and we don't know why the delay is. Look, as long as y'all are working on it, I'm okay. I'm not okay with this development hell where it just sits here and we don't know and fingers are being pointed and let's get back on track. Let's put our egos aside and let's do something for the fans. Okay? The fans have been waiting forever for a Blade movie. Okay? Let's honor the great tradition of my main man, Wesley Snipes, who I loved as Blade. Thank you, Wesley Snipes. If you're listening, thank you for what you did with the Blade character all the way through Deadpool. But we, the fandom, are crying out for a Blade movie. We need a good Blade movie. And Mahershala Ali, I have faith in you. You're a damn good actor. You've got the chops and the hardware to prove it, right? So I know you'll do justice to this character. Let's hope that Blade is every bit as good as it deserves to be. Okay. So, folks, there's a lot riding, as I said, on Fantastic Four because of the past and the character you're dealing with. Matt Shackman's a good director, but you got a lot. You got a lot going on, man. You got a lot going on. I kind of wish I'm also a fan. I'm becoming less of a fan of all these trailers that they're putting out. I might be in a minority on that. I don't mind you having some trailers to hype up stuff, but I think sometimes with some of these movies, they give us too much in the trailers. I would like to see people stop doing that because when you give away so much for the trailer. Don't get me wrong. I think this movie is rumored to be 2 hours long or a little bit over 2 hours. Do let me leave something to the imagination. I don't mind you putting some stuff out there, but don't show me the whole movie. Don't show me 30 plus minutes of the movie in a trailer, or a series of trailers. Don't do that. Give me maybe if you do 3 trailers, maybe let's just say 12 minutes. That's all I need of a film, or maybe 15 at the most. Don't give me, especially don't give me all the big reveals. Don't give me. I love Galactus, and I say that as a fan. I say it wholeheartedly. I think they've shown too much of him already. So that don't get me wrong, I haven't seen the movie, but I feel like because if you give too much of it, the impact is supposed to hit you when he is actually finally revealed, and you're sitting in the theater and you're like, oh man, it's just like the trailer. It doesn't hit the same as if they like when they showed him walking through the street, cool. When they showed him looking at the Statue of Liberty, cool. To me, that's about enough of Galactus like that they should show. You can talk about it, have a snippet of his voice if you really want to, because Ralph Ineson's voice is great. You get people excited. Uh, but I'm just somebody that says, hey, man, don't give me the movie in a trailer. It's a trailer. Don't give it away. That's just, let me get off my soapbox. That's just my personal thing that irks me, right? But these movies have to hit. They cannot miss. They can't, man. They can't miss at all. You've got to get this movie right. I think Max Shackman will deliver. And I do believe that Superman, I think James Gunn's team and the Superman, I think they will deliver. And I think we will have two movies that are actually 2 weeks apart between the 11th and the 25th of July. I think we're going to have two banger movies in July. And I'm good with that. If those two are great, I'm good with that. I'll probably look at Jurassic Park just because I like dinosaurs. So I might go watch it. And, Scarlett Johansson, the Easy on Eyes, I might go look for that reason too. But I definitely think that these two movies are really important because for the reasons I've already mentioned why James Gunn's Superman is important, because it's the linchpin that sets up his future of his DC universe, or whatever he's going to call it. Whether he'll call it DCEU or just DCU, I don't know. But going forward, his vision of DC depends on this film. I think for Fantastic Four with Galactus's arc, how they'll go from there is very important for this movie to get it right. Marvel has a lot riding on it because they had Deadpool and Wolverine, which was a hit, but we knew that was going to happen. But outside of that, there's been a lot of questions about Marvel, like have they lost their mojo? They can't seem to get anything right. So for them, this is absolutely their way to say, hey, we showed you Deadpool, and now we're showing you this. We're back. We haven't lost our touch. We can make awesome movies that people want to see. Okay, so it's very important that I think they understand what's at stake. I'll say that. So I'll start ranting there. Those two movies are very important. Um, I guess the next thing to put Clippers to is Ironheart, right? So I could put Ironheart on there, and I see it's getting mixed reviews. I just checked it out, and I can't tell you a lot about it. I can tell you I've seen the first three episodes. I think the rest come on July 1st or 2nd or something like that. So very shortly. Um, I I thought it was cool. I mean, I don't have the hate for it that I see a lot of people do for some strange reason. I don't get it. There's so much hate on it, and don't get me wrong. There's a couple of things I don't like. I mean, that makes. I mean, I get it. Where the gripes that I've read, not all of them, but a couple of them I get. There is a lot like her character in the bit like these first three episodes seems to have a lot of hubris, and I don't know if that's intentional or not, because it seems like in Wakanda Forever she had this swag about her, but I wouldn't really say it was hubris. It wasn't as high like it is in this one. It's almost like she's really supposed to be God's gift to the world, like to the tech world, and she's so great, and it's like they're building her up, and then of course the whole purpose of good storytelling is you have that hubris, and then here comes pride comes before the fall. So we'll see what happens in these next three episodes. But so far, I'm interested. You can color me interested. I want to see the next three. So that's kind of how you gauge me. If I watch and I continue to watch, then you've got me. If you can get me to watch something and I want to continue to watch, then you're doing your job. It's only when I say nah, I've seen enough. That's when you're not doing your job, right? So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the rest of Ironheart. Now, something I did want to put the Clippers to, and I talked about it. We talked about the Superman. Hasbro definitely want to make certain that I put the Clippers where the Clippers need to be. Because if anybody needs to catch this fade, is so Hasbro, who is coming for your wallet, as we see in the second half with those Gamerverse packs. Good lord. Look, I say that I'm not about to sit here and tell y'all don't do it because I'm part of the problem, right? I want some stuff I saw. For me to tell you that I don't want the Juggernaut, although my gripes with that Juggernaut, you're talking about somebody that has the Marvel Select Juggernaut, which is my favorite. But this particular Juggernaut, if I had a gripe, it might have just been the images I saw. The color appears to be off, right? The size looks right. It looks like it's going to be probably the most articulated Juggernaut that we've had, bigger and well articulated, but the color seems to be dull. That's just me. Maybe it's just those images, and they'll correct it before it launches. I get it, but I am looking forward to that. Gigantos or Shumagorath, whatever you want to call them, looking forward to that. Silver Samurai and Wolverine, looking forward to that. Um, but we'll see. That's a great line. But that leads me into why the Clippers are on. And the reason that the Clippers are on is because Hasbro, at least I thought before this, the Gamerverse thing was them. This was their thing. Like I said, I'm me thinking that Gamerverse was their thing. That they're using because it came from initially. The first time I ever saw it was off of that wonderful Venom right there. Excuse me. This Venom right here from Gamerverse. Uh, that's where I first saw that line. Right now, I've seen the Kingpin, and the Kingpin looks awesome. But I thought it was just going to be a Hasbro thing. That was just me. Stupid me. SH Figuarts comes out of nowhere. Not the company, because we know who they are, but comes out of nowhere with this Cyclops. And I'm like, whoa, that looks like the Cyclops from X-Men Children of the Atom and X-Men versus Street Fighter. Wait a minute, hold on now. What's going on with this? And I'm like, it was so unexpected. I said, where did that come from? So now Gamerverse, I'm wrong. So Gamerverse isn't apparently just a Hasbro thing. Gamerverse is apparently a thing that anybody can get down with. SH Figuarts, who makes, we call them 6-inch figures, but if you've ever had one, and I like them, no disrespect, I don't own any of their figures, but I've seen quite a few. They usually measure on a scale of about 5.85 down to 6-inch. That's about it. 6 inches is generous because a lot of their figures aren't 6 inches tall. But I'm not saying that as a shot at them. That's just a fact. But they make quality stuff, right? Even though it's not, the 6 or 7 inch figures, the quality is there. They're good, and they're obviously they're pricey, right? So the Cyclops thong aside, people talking about that picture with the thong. I guess you could say it's a thong. I really never even focused on it or saw it until someone said it. I didn't even see the thong. Wasn't focused on it. I'm looking at the character. I gotta be honest with you, it's a damn good model. I mean, it looks good. It looks like they ripped it right out the game. SH Figuarts, like I said, they make quality stuff. This Cyclops looks like it's gonna be a really, really, really good Cyclops, right? But as I say that, we all know it's not going to be the size of a Marvel Legend or whatnot, so it will not be 6 or 7 inches tall, right? It's going to be on the shorter side, but it looks awesome. Like I said, the quality is there. I just wish it was taller. Because Cyclops is supposed to be 6'2" or 6'3" in real life, so he's going to be short. So I don't know if their aim is game or comic accuracy. So I'm wondering how short is Wolverine gonna be? Okay, but I digress. The point is they've jumped into the Gamerverse business. So do you seriously think that Hasbro is gonna stand aside and just let SH Figuarts come in and just make all this money off of what is essentially characters that they primarily have made figures for? No. I didn't think so. I don't see that happening, folks. I don't. Maybe, but I doubt it. I think Hasbro likes making money. I think they are too invested, too petty to let somebody else come in here and all of a sudden just start raking in the cash off of their pie. I don't think so. I don't see Hasbro being okay with that because we're talking about people that reuse and relaunch figures all the time. That's why Gamerverse was such a breath of fresh air when they did it, was because even though it's characters we've seen before, it's characters they have not released in quite some time, right? And it's based off beloved properties from fighting games, right? So this was kind of it was a little bit of a breath of fresh air, although we were familiar with these characters, not from the game sense. So to me, it was like, well, okay, Hasbro doing something different. I like it. And if you think they're about to sit there and just say, man, these are the people that just did the Nemesis Wave build a figure, right? They just did that. And who was the main character in that? Cyclops, right? If you think that they're about to let SH Figuarts or anybody else come out here and rain, I'm not gonna say rain, well, yeah, rain on their parade. The Gamerverse is a thing that they're the ones putting figures out for. I can't see them allowing them to make the new gotta have Cyclops. I can't see it. I cannot see that. And oddly doing nothing, man, let me tell you something. They will re-release that Cyclops in a heartbeat. They will do it. They will make a Gamerverse Cyclops. You see, they had no problem putting out these 6 packs. Don't be surprised. I say, don't be surprised if all of a sudden they have some more news or they say, hey, we've got some more figures, and all of a sudden you're gonna see the new Cable, you're gonna see the new Cyclops, and you're gonna see another Wolverine, which will be like the 157th Wolverine they've made. But you'll see all these new versions of these characters. Don't be surprised if it happens, folks. I cannot see Hasbro standing aside and just letting SH Figuarts make that money. That's not who Hasbro is. Not that I've seen. Not the Hasbro I know. I can't see them standing there and saying, "Oh yeah, go ahead, make all the Gamerverse figures you want. We're not worried about it." If they've started this party, you better believe they're gonna be the ones that turn off the lights on this party too. So although apparently other people can make things in the Gamerverse line, I don't think you're gonna make them and Hasbro do nothing about it. Let me just say it that way. So I fully expect I'm not gonna say comic accurate, so I guess it'd be video game accurate version of Cyclops. That's something we don't have, but I guess it's something we're going to have because Hasbro's too greedy to allow SH Figuarts to give you the definitive fighting game version of Cyclops. There's no way in hell they stand aside and do that. Not coming off the heels of the Nemesis build a figure, which was cool, and that wave, which is cool, and the absolutely awesome Archangel, which I really love. There's no way in the world they just stand idly by and let somebody else get this money. Not gonna happen, folks. Not gonna happen. I'm not. I'm shocked. So, hey, competition is a good thing. You guys know on the channel we talk about competition is a good thing. Is it healthy? Yeah, because it brings out the best in all of these different manufacturers of these action figures. Because if they compete, they probably make better figures. If they make better figures, that's better for us, the consumer, us members of the culture who purchase these items, right? So we get that competition guarantees us that we have choices, right, on what is the best figure and what is the best figure for your collection. You'll get that with competition. So I'm happy for SH Figuarts, but just know it's about to heat up. I'm gonna say that now. If I'm wrong, if time proves me wrong, it proves me wrong, and maybe Hasbro isn't who I think they are, but I don't think so, folks. I totally see Hasbro not retaliating, but yeah, let's call it what it is. I see Hasbro retaliating and saying, "Hey, you think you got the best Cyclops? Watch this." All right, it'll force them to give us something fantastic. If SH Figuarts forces them to up their game and give us characters the quality of Odin from last year's Marvel Legends line, or the Venom Pool, or the Jean Grey Phoenix, or this Venom right here, if it forces them to give us characters like that and give us figures that are that good, man, then yeah, or the Archangel. Like if it's gonna make them step their game up and give us quality figures, I'm all for it, man. Then don't let SH Figuarts be the only one. Let somebody else take a swing at it, okay? Because competition's healthy and it's good. It brings out the best in most people, in most situations. So I'm looking forward to it. Cannot wait to see what Hasbro does for the Gamerverse line now that SH Figuarts has officially thrown their hat. I guess you could say their visor in the ring now. They've officially thrown their visor in since we know of that Cyclops. And I know the thong jokes are gonna keep coming, so it's fine. It's perfectly fine. But I'm totally looking forward to where the Gamerverse line is headed. That Kingpin looks really, really good. Those you haven't seen in the black suit Kingpin, very, very impressed with how that looks. I think that it's going to heat up, and this year might be. And I could say it for any year. I know you're going to say, "Hey, you're a collector." You're going to say any year. No, 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 no. I think this year really has the makings for multiple reasons to be one of the best years collectors have had. I really think it will be. Um, and it could, like I said, Todd McFarlane is going to be losing a license when it comes to DC Multiverse. So he's cranking out some of the best figures he can crank out. Obviously, Marvel is cranking out figures. You've got their regular Marvel Legends line. They're going to be bringing out more Gamerverse figures. Now with SH Figuarts competing in, who's to say that that's going to be the end of it? If anybody can get in it, what if NECA starts making them? We don't know, right? With Super 7 kind of downsizing, are they going to make a huge comeback? You've got a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions that we as fans will be the beneficiaries of some great product. That's what it all boils down to me. I think if you're a collector, there'll be something for everybody, depending on what it is you like to collect, right? If you're a big Marvel Legends guy or girl, I think you'll find what you want. If you're big into McFarlane, I think you'll be able to find what you want. It seems like everybody's going to turn up this year and put their best foot forward and give us the best figures. And folks, I have no complaints with that in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Please give me the best figures for my money, because the prices are going up. So I feel like if the price goes up, the quality should go up with it. There's no way in the world, you know. Let's see. Let's see. Let me read this here. Stuart Patterson. Don't you reach a certain age, though, where you think I need to have a life and I have no space for figures anymore? I love being a geek sometimes, but sometimes I have no space. That's fair. That's a fair question. Thank you for your question, Stuart. Um, it's tough for me to answer that. It's hard to say don't you reach a certain age with that, because um and I don't know if you know who Clever's Multiverse is. You might want to watch a video he just dropped, he goes into way more detail about aren't you too old to be collecting and so forth. Please go check out. He's in my comments. If you look right there in the chat, check out his last video. It explains it much deeper than I ever could. But me personally, I'm a big believer that hey man, you're as old as you think you are, as you feel. As long as, in my opinion, if you can find the space, if you have a passion for this, you're going to continue to collect if you have a passion for it. I've been to shows where there are guys there that I didn't ask their age, I don't know, but I bet you those are some granddads and beyond that are still collecting. I mean, God rest Stan Lee's soul, but Stan Lee, I'm not gonna call him a collector, but he had figures too, as well as giving us all the comics and laying the foundation for what we see. He never lost the passion. So if the great Stan Lee wasn't too old, then who am I? I still have a passion. The space thing that you bring up is very legitimate. Sometimes it makes you make decisions because people in some of the toy groups I'm in, they have storage bins, right, where they put their loose figures. I do a combination of inbox and loose. I don't know if you can tell. You can't see everything, but there's obviously like the Venom right here, and then I have things that are in box right there behind me. So I do both. But yes, space, you do kind of wonder about it. I change things up and switch things around a lot and try to do the best I can with the space I have in this office. I do what I can, but believe me, I've got more space if I need to, but I'd like to try to keep it all together. So yeah, so to answer your question, you're as old as you feel. I don't know if age is the requirement because I always like to say in my videos that I'll do this until they put me in a box. I don't know when I'll stop. I really don't. Right now, the fire burns just like it did when I was a kid collecting comics and stuff. I took a break from it for a while, so I came back more refreshed. I started the channel. If you didn't know my journey, I started this channel as a way on my mental health journey to help other people realize that it's okay to collect and that you need to value your time and do what you like to do. That's how the channel got started. Right. Thank you very much. Yep. Until you become your own figure. That's just how I feel. I have a passion for it. Anything you have a passion for, I think you should chase and continue to go after. Um, I don't know when I'll hit that point, but when I cross that, the saying is I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I don't see that bridge in my purview right now. I ain't looking for that bridge, and I don't know when I'll cross it. But I don't have any plans on crossing it because there's just too much. Uh, there's no maximum hope. There's too many figures right now that I like and that I want to go after. So I don't plan on stopping now. If I would tell you, Stuart, if you're a member of the culture, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're a member of the culture, please keep doing what you're doing. If you love it, continue to do it. The minute you don't have the same passion for collecting or anything in general, the minute that you lose that passion for it, the drive, that's probably when it's time to start thinking about getting out. That's just my opinion to you. That's how I see it. If Because when you stop loving something, you typically stop doing it. So, got a passion for sci-fi and comic book characters my whole life. It gives me hope, but the noise of the internet right now is destroying. You know what? That's fair. That's a fair point too. Um, One of the things that the internet is a good thing and a bad thing, right? It's how we get our information these days, right? Where everything is at the click of a finger because we're a microwave society. We want things right here and right now. It's got to cook immediately. So the good thing is you can almost find anything that you want on the internet when you want to find it. So you can go to reviewers of movies or action figures, or video games, or whatever, and you can get some good reviewers because anybody that has a microphone or a cell phone or a computer that can connect to the internet has access to it and can go out there and put their opinion out there. And for me, I try to be very careful with what I do and what I say. I give my opinion, but I'm not out here to destroy anyone's passion. So my advice to you on that, Stuart, is to block out the noise. Right? The internet, like I said, is good and bad. You can get a lot of good information. You can get a lot of bad information. There's some great, brilliant people on this internet that are in these toy groups out here. There's some jackasses. I can't lie to you and tell you that everybody that's out here is shares your passion and is going to say nothing but positive things and encourage you. I know that I will, and I know that members of the culture here will, because that's what we do. So I'm not here to destroy your passion. I'm here to tell you to chase your passion until you catch it, right? And me personally, I've been chasing mine. I ain't caught it yet. I'm still chasing it, right? So try not to. You have to block out the haters. That's the big thing there. I love Ironheart right now. Surprise me, but the hate is horrendous. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a man. You're hitting home runs all day long with this. That's true, Stuart. I like it too. I don't understand. I really don't understand where the hate is coming from either. It's okay to dislike something. That's all right. We all have our opinions, right? Every person that's on here can have an opinion, but I don't get the justification of the hate for it. There's nothing that I've seen, as I was talking about it earlier. With it, I want to see the next episodes because that's my litmus test. I've seen the first three, and sure, could I nitpick and find a couple of things? I say, you know what? I'm curious about this direction. Why is she so arrogant? Because she was in Wakanda Forever. It takes place afterwards, and it seems like if this is taking place afterwards, then she should be a little bit more humble because she, at the end of that movie, she was a little bit more humble than she appears to be in this so far. But that hadn't stopped me from watching, right? So I don't get the I don't get the hate. There are some people right now that are just I just talked about this a few minutes ago. There are some people that are really Marvel haters. They're here to jump on it. They're the same people that are waiting to bury James Gunn if they don't like Superman. They're gonna bury Marvel if they don't like Fantastic Four First Steps. I mean, so you just got a contingency of people that unfortunately that's how their world works. Mine doesn't work that way. I'm sure yours doesn't, but that's how their world works. That's how they see the world, um, in kind of a negative view, and it's unfortunate when that happens. But it's just kind of the world we live in, right? To be honest with you, I don't let the haters stop me from what I'm doing. I can't. What I'm doing is too important for too many people out here. With the way the world is, mental health is very, very important. So if you find a hobby that you like, that you enjoy, you have a right to pursue that healthy hobby. It keeps you mentally sane. It keeps you in a happy place. You have a right to that. So I say, don't. I'm not gonna let anybody stop me from mine, and I wouldn't. I'd advise anyone that's listening to not let them stop you from yours either. You have a right to it. You got a right to be happy. Nobody has the right to stop you from that. So whether it's watching movies or miniseries or collecting action figures or Hot Wheels or Funko Pops or whatever you might be collecting, you have a right to that. You work, you spend your hard-earned money on that. You're not hurting anybody. So if it's going in your collection, in your room, in your house, it's yours. You have that right to it. The other people that did not contribute to that in any way, shape, form, or fashion, they didn't put the money in it. They don't own the house or the room, and it doesn't affect them. Those people, whatever, block those people out. That's the best way. That is correct, and that is the mantra of what we do here, Stuart. That is correct. We can save each other. So here in for me, this platform, the members of the culture. That's what I call everybody that follows us here. They are members of this culture, this community. All it is inclusive. All are welcome. The people that are out here that love to talk about the culture, that love music, movies, video games, particularly action figures, Funko Pops, or whatever it is that they collect and enjoy. Um, this is a safe space. You are welcome here, right? If nowhere else on the planet, and hopefully it's not like that, you should be welcome everywhere. But if nowhere else on the planet, the people that are in this culture, this is our space. Everyone's welcome here except haters. Haters are not welcome here. There's no space for them here. You came to hate, there's a billion other channels to go to. I advise people to go find that channel quick, fast, and in a hurry. Because here we value human life, we value our experiences, we value our differences, and we're here strictly for the culture, which is what brings us together, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, and Stuart, thank you so much for all of your comments. I really enjoy it. That 100%. I would love to have you as a guest one day on the pod again. We may be able to work something out. All you got to do is go to my channel right there, The Great Ra, and everything you'll find you need is there, right? Videos and information and how to get in contact with me. It's all there. So, folks, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate Clever's Multiverse and Stuart Patterson for joining me today here as on this Catch the Fade podcast. We do it each and every Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be back next week, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I look forward to that. And until I see Stuart Patterson, Clever's Multiverse, and anyone else under the sound of my voice, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate that. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Stuart. Absolutely. You're from the UK. Hey, man. I love talking about the film industry and stories too, man. Get in contact with me, Stuart. We can definitely catch a rep about that. I'm all about that, man. We talk all day about stuff like that. So please check out my channel. Get in contact with me, Stuart, and anybody else. I look forward to seeing you guys here next week, same time, 4 p.m. Central, at on the channel, and we're gonna do this again. I'll have plenty more videos coming up on the channel as a whole. It may not be the podcast, which is only on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, but we'll have plenty of other videos. Check out the channel. I'm sure you'll find something you like. So, on behalf of my new good friend, Stuart Patterson, Clever's Multiverse, and all of the members of the culture, please, ladies and gentlemen, continue to stay tuned. Please continue to stay collecting. Above all, please continue to stay great. God bless everybody. I will see you all next week.